Welcome back to another episode of Black Facts. As you know, my channel is all about health, and most people do not equate discussing their finances as a health subject matter. I do, because one thing I know, if you aren't financially healthy or working towards it, your overall health is impacted. Well, because of financial stress manifests through physical symptoms like loss of sleep. I know some of us, if we're stressing over finances, can't sleep. We're anxious. Some people even get migraines, digestive issues, heart arrhythmias, depression, and they feel a sense of being overwhelmed. So today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Brandy Quarles-Clark. She's an accredited financial professional, a Moreno Valley Unified School Board member, and a proud wife and mother of two. Welcome, Brandy.
I thank you so much, Michelle, for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to delve into this because, like I stated before, most people don't equate, being financially healthy as a part of their overall health. So, my first question for you is what is the first step that you would suggest that we do to improve our financial health habits?
So it's very, very important that you pay yourself first. Listen to what I say. Even if it's $1 a week, $2 a week, that $2 a week adds up. And then you're able to, if there's an emergency that happens, to use it. I know we say, well, I need food, I need
Mhm.
clothes, I need shelter. But believe me, that $1 a week, $5 a month, it adds up. And over time, if you try to forget about it, is there for emergencies. Because, like you said, Michelle, it really does impact you. Financial stress, even in mental health is huge, and it does evolve and lead into mental health issues.
So, you're saying we should pay ourselves. Should we
Hmm.
establish some type of budget or figure out how we can go about saving?
Absolutely. So it's very, very critical to live off a budget. I am a budget down to the penny type person, and I recommend that for everyone involved. We do it in our lives, no matter what. Put yourself something aside. This is what I have for rent. This is what I have for entertainment. This is what I have for bills and utilities and food. And also, I say use your coupons. Coupons are very important. We now have smartphones, everyone. A simple Google while you're at Stater Brothers or Walmart or wherever you go, Target, what's on sale, coupons for Walmart. They come right up on your phone. Everyone's using them. So I say set a budget, use coupons, and set a tiny bit aside for miscellaneous because we never know what that emergency is going to be. In addition, if you don't use your miscellaneous budgetary amount, roll it over to your next month's budget and keep doing so.
Is that a strategy for saving if we don't use the
It
miscellaneous? Okay.
absolutely is a strategy for saving. Thank you, Michelle. It's absolutely a strategy for saving, putting it aside, rolling it over, using it for emergency purposes only. And again, I can't stress enough because in my younger years, my family, financial literacy budget managers here at the university would say, Brandy, always pay yourself first. I didn't know what that looked like. I never did it. It wasn't until I really started to pay myself first, whether it's 5%, 10%, 1%. You can still invest in your 401k. You can still put it in your savings account, but that's your savings account just for you for emergencies. And again, I stress $1, $2, $5. It adds up before you know it. Pay yourself, sit it aside, don't touch it unless you absolutely have to. It is remarkable, and you'd be surprised.
Okay. So you talked about using Google to find coupons. What about how do I find a budget? Because say I'm not, I'm not budget or I don't know, finance savvy. I can't do spreadsheets and so that can be a little bit intimidating. So how can I find a budget so that I can just plug my, my household expenses into?
So there's several apps. We are in the day of technology. So there are several applications for your iPhone or your Android that you can simply download the application. However, they're very, very simple. All you have to do is put in how much your mortgage is, how much your utilities are, how much your insurance is, and how much revenue or money that you bring in. And it
Okay.
will itemize it for you. They're so fantastic and easy to use. Now, let's say you don't have a smartphone or you're just not into technology and you'd rather use a paper and pen. Again, a line item where you say, this is how much I bring in, and write down every single category on a spreadsheet, on Word, on PDF, PowerPoint, whatever your comfort level is, and simply write that out and budget down to the penny. You want to make sure that your revenue, which is the money that you bring in,
Mhm.
your expenses doesn't exceed your revenue. So your money doesn't put you in a deficit.
Okay, I can't wait to hear about some of those apps
Oh, they're
because
great.
I know I need one of those apps in my life. I need to
I'm
move from the paper and the
gonna
pen and
they're
get with
really good.
technology.
So there are a few
Because
apps
I
that
mean,
I recommend that are very, very simple to use. It's called
okay.
Every Dollar. These are the really simple. Every
Mhm.
Dollar. There's one called Good Budget, one word, GOOD, budget. And then there's Mint, MINT. Now, if you get to Rocket Money or Money Managers, those get a little harder. But those three that I just outlined are very, very simple to use. Plug and play.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And I like how you were saying that, you need to put in what's realistic, right? So that we can make sure that, everything that's coming out is aligned with, and once you see this down to, close to zero, then you need to stop spending. And
Absolutely.
I like that because too, if it's already on our phones, then if I'm out shopping, that, and I just came from Ralph's, or Vaughn's, then I can deduct that, and it's already on my budget, so I know, okay, that's there, so I can start doing it in real time.
Exactly. That's great. And it gives you real-time alerts. It'll reminders. You should have paid this, or you're down to $5 on your budget. It gives you
Oh,
real-time text alerts and notifications. It's really awesome.
ooh, ooh, I really like that. Okay. So, with that said, how much should I save a month? So, say I'm making, I don't know, I'm bringing in 5,000 a month. What should I save? Should I wait to see how much I have left over after I've paid all my bills, or how should I do that?
Well, again, I'm with the you pay yourself first, and it's definitely up to your comfort level. But I always recommend at minimum 5%. Some people say
Okay.
10, but I recommend 5 because we live in the real world, right? Where everything happens, and all of a sudden our sons and our daughters need something, and our dog needs to go to the vet. But we always want to at minimum do 5%, and it's a healthy number. And for those people who haven't are not budget savvy, we find that saying, or statistics show that dollar percentage of savings is always easier for the beginners, right? 5%, get comfortable. 2 3 months, okay, I'm doing okay, up it to 6, because I believe every quarter you should look at your finances. That's every 3 months, and decide what's working, what's not, and what's helpful, and how you can increase it or decrease it based on what you've set as a budget. So every 3 months review, try to stick to it, 3 months only, and then if it's working, great, adjust it, add a little more. If it's not, maybe you take a little percentage away.
Okay, I like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I can commit to anything for 3 months or a
Yes,
quarter.
for a
Commit
quarter.
to
Every
that, see how it works. Just stay very focused and see how it works. And if it's too much, or if you're like, oh, okay, I did that pretty easy, then you
right.
can up the number a little bit. I like
Right.
that.
And
I like
remember,
that.
it takes 21 days, right, to make a habit.
Yes.
So by the time you get to the third month, you're usually, or studies have shown, the outcomes and metrics have been, wow, I could do this. Wow, it wasn't so bad. Wow, well, maybe if I decrease it just 1%, but you don't ever want to take it all away because you see the outcome, right? And you're happy with
Mhm.
that. And every 3 months you look at that. It's really
Okay,
good.
so now I have a little bit more difficult question. How do we take into account like inflation?
Yeah, that is difficult, especially with what's happening in our world today. So, you know, we always live on, or let me back up. A fiscal year starts in July, right? It ends in January, but the real world is calendar year to calendar year.
Mhm.
So you always want to think about your job, your COLAs, your cost of living adjustments. Never ever count on them, right?
Mm,
So when never count on your COLA, because you never know when that's going to happen, if you're unionized, if something's coming, in the future. So we don't want to, you don't
you
want to count your money before you have it, right?
get right.
So when you're dealing with inflation, you just have to think of, okay, because all the time, things are going up, our salaries aren't keeping up, right? So again, that's when I say start shopping smarter. Okay. We can't just go to the store and say, oh, I like this, I like this, I want three of them. We have to think about the future. We have to say, is this something that I need, something that I want? And that
Mm,
budget allows you to stay within your means. Okay. The budget is the key. It's the answer. Um, and again, just staying within your means, trying to find savings, shopping at stores that aren't as expensive,
mhm.
and just being patient and couponing. I know it sounds antiquated, but trust me, there's even coupon apps nowadays that send them to your phone. Advertising, of course, too, to go to the store, so only buy what you need. But those are a few ways to stay abreast of the system. And then again, rolling over whatever you don't save this month into your next month's allotment.
I like how you mentioned something about needs. So I know this may sound very simplistic, but I want to talk about it. How do we decipher between a need and a want? Because I think sometimes we get confused with that. And when we're out there and we're shopping, and like you said, ooh, there's a coupon, and ooh, we can get five or whatever. But do we really need that? And are we going to use it, you know what I mean? Or
Right.
is it something that's like a household thing that we really are going to use? Or it would just be nice to have five candles, when really we don't even need any candles. We just want them.
Right. So think of it this way. A need is something important, right? It's an important thing. It's survival, right? You need food, you need water, clothing, shelter, right? Things that you need that is impactful to you and your health and your daily survival. Wants are things that make you feel comfortable, right? Things that well, I need this. I want this. It could wait. Things that um, it won't necessarily have a huge impact on your surviving, right? I want to eat that, great 5-star meal, but if I ate fruits and vegetables this evening, I would survive. Need versus want, right? So it's something along that level. So needs are something you need to live and function. You have to have
So you keep bringing up stuff. Okay, eating out,
it.
eating
Eating out.
out. That will
So
impact our budget greatly versus going to the grocery store and buying groceries. And I know a lot
wow.
of people, especially with COVID, for some reason, I've just heard from, just speaking to a lot of my friends, like that really changed things for them. They stopped going
Mhm.
out and buying,
Mhm.
groceries and preparing meals. It's all about the DoorDash and eating out.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about how man, that can take your money quicker than you.
Quickly. It is definitely in the want category. It is not a need to DoorDash. So, eating healthy and going to the grocery store is the way, right? We definitely want to go and we get more bang for our buck. I'll tell you a small story. I give my son an allowance for $25, let's just say a week. Now, he has been so privileged that one day he decided to DoorDash a meal, right? This meal cost him every single cent of his $25, like maybe 24.62. But if we round up, we get to $25. If he had walked from school to the lunch place, he could have eaten 3 times. Three. That same meal that he could have 3 times. So it's always better to go to the store, even though it's inconvenient now, especially after COVID. But things are cheaper at the store versus being brought to you or going out to meals, because remember, you have to pay for your service. There's the gas that you spend on the road to go there, right?
Mhm.
You might think, oh, it's just right down the street, it's not that big of a deal, but in the big scheme of things, it really, really is. And if you do it over and over again, it adds up. So you have the gas that you spend, the service that you the fee that you have to spend if you're going out
Mhm.
to the store. Whereas a grocery store, you go one time, you spend your budget, you get all your meal items for the week, you come home, you cook every day. You're already saving right there just in gas alone going back and forth. Or if you're door dashing, them bringing you food and providing that service fee, the $2.99, $3.99, which adds up every single time. Not to mention, some of your fries might be missing. Mhm. Just saying.
You're just
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Now
So,
it's better than me.
are there any are there any free, I should say, financial services that are available out there? I know you mentioned some apps and different things, but are there any services to kind of just really help us get on track and to help us stay financially healthy?
There are so many free companies. Wells Fargo has a great free tool, and they have financial literacy classes online as well. Also, our partners P. Morgan and Chase have personal advisors. I know sometimes people are like, personal advisors? I don't want a personal advisor. They're going to charge me to do these things. No, they have free fiduciary advice, free planning, free tools on their websites for you to use, where you could either go to some of those classes, right? There's financial literacy classes online, and you can just Google them and they'll come up, because there's days that they have webinars, free financial literacy
Oh, I love
webinars.
that.
hmm
Yes.
and they're usually on the weekends or after work hours, after your 8 to 5. But they do them once, like 3 times a week. So you can find a lot on Eventbrite. Have you heard of Eventbrite? Because there are
Yes. Yes.
so many free financial literacy workshops on Eventbrite. When all they want you to do is log on, ask questions, so they can share their information.
Wonderful. Oh,
And
oh.
just so you know, when you do these Eventbrite has a review section
Mhm.
with stars and who has helped give, and provided great advice. So make sure you do your research and review, right?
Okay.
So, but they're really good tools. I go to them. I recommend my daughter who's in college goes to them, and my son who's in high school, because there's so many times that people don't teach us about financial literacy, right? And what happens if you come into a huge lump sum of money? Even then, you have to be very mindful and careful,
Yes.
with your monetary with your monies.
Yes. Okay, so you have told us about apps. You've given us great advice on deciphering between our needs and our wants. Are there any other additional information or tips that you can share with us so that we can ensure from this day forward we feel equipped and empowered to be financially healthy?
The one thing that we didn't touch on are things like afterpays and things that kind of keep us in debt, right? So we don't have we're watching our credit cards, right? We're saying, okay, we're not going to spend our credit cards. We're going to be mindful. But if you do things like Afterpay and Canva and some of those other credit, PayPal's
Yeah,
where
I
you have
need you to say this. I need you to say this loud because I know a lot of young people love that afterpay. I didn't know
they
anything
love
about
it.
an afterpay. And I was like, why would you pay
It's new,
after? What are you talking about? And they're like, oh yeah, we could buy all this stuff
right?
for say $14. But then how many $14 are you paying for how long to, pay off your little bill? So please, I'm
Yes,
sorry. Talk about
yes.
Afterpay, whatever else is out there. All I know is about Afterpay.
But it's really not a good solution, because let me back up. Some of the kids think that it's a good solution because it doesn't report to the credit bureau, so they think, right?
Mm,
And
okay.
so that's what they say. But the impact that it has and the rate of litigation is huge, right? So, for example, if you miss a payment, they're going to add a fee, $7, $10, and they keep adding up daily versus
Oh,
monthly.
wow.
And
Wow.
then they sue you or take you into litigation, and your
Ooh,
$48 payment that you decided to make 10 is now thousands of dollars. That's why they stay in business. It is not
wow.
good. They have last year, I believe the numbers were over $1.5 million in revenue because of late fees, right? So these things aren't good. You know, if you
Wow.
accidentally forget, oh, that $10 is coming out next month, it's like 100% fee. So you owe $10, and now you have to pay a $10 fee. That's 20, right? And after so many months, it goes into the collections and then litigation. It's not a good deal.
Ooh, okay. Thank you for sharing that because I think that
Mhm.
that's vital information. You've shared so many wonderful, wonderful tips that I really appreciate, but that is huge because we want to be working towards, getting out of debt if we find ourselves currently in debt and not, succumbing to some of these scams. I mean, because that's
Mhm.
basically what they are,
And think of it this way: are what happens if you forget that you have a $10 automatic payment coming out of your account and you don't have $10 in it? Now you have overdraft fees, right?
Right.
There's just so many things that could happen with Afterpay that's not, and not just specifically Afterpay, but tools like
Like
Afterpay
that.
and
Mhm.
this. So I don't want to just on Afterpay,
Right.
but
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Brandy, for joining me on Black Facts and sharing so many wonderful tools and resources on how we can stay financially healthy. Like, I so appreciate you. I have learned some things, as always, with all of my guests. I'm so privileged and I'm excited about these episodes because I get to learn new things and tools to put in my little toolbox so that I can do better myself, because we're all striving to do right on this journey of what I say, this journey of health. We're all working towards optimal health, whatever that looks like for each one of us. And I wanted to share this information because I want us to be holistically well and knowing that, if you don't have your finances in order, you cannot accomplish that. So I want to thank you again for joining me on Black Facts. And I want to thank our Black Facts viewers for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe so you can be up to date on new and upcoming episodes. And leave me a comment if some of you all have some financial, healthy or savvy tools out there that we all should be using. Share those. Don't keep them to yourself. So please join me. And next time, we're going to join in on another engaging conversation so we can all know the facts. Thanks again. Bye, everyone.